I was dreaming of a better life, not just for myself, but for my mother. She raised me alone through storms of pain and poverty, and her only wish was to see me succeed. I was her only daughter, and she always said, "You're my strength, my hope, my future." Every day, I promised myself that I would fulfill her dreams, no matter what. When I got my first job, I was filled with hope. The office was big, the lights were bright, and everything looked professional. I thought I had finally found the place that would change my life, but from the very first day, I noticed something strange. My boss. He wasn't like others. His face never smiled, and his voice was always cold. He looked at me and said, "In this office, we don't follow the clock, we follow my rules." At first, I laughed it off. I thought maybe he was just strict, but soon I understood. It wasn't just strictness, it was cruelty. Days turned into weeks, and every day at the office felt like walking on glass. My boss, Mr. Clark, never smiled. His face always tight with stress, his voice sharp like a knife. He never said thank you or good job, even when I worked overtime or skipped lunch just to meet deadlines. I told myself to be patient, to stay strong, because I had a purpose, to make my mother proud. But things started getting worse. Mr. Clark began giving me tasks that weren't even part of my job. I was a junior assistant, but I had to clean the office kitchen, make his coffee 5 times a day, and even pick up his dry cleaning. Every time I said, "Sir, this isn't my responsibility," he would glare at me and say, "If you don't like it, leave." I couldn't leave. I needed the job. My mother's medicine wasn't cheap. Her health was getting worse, and she needed a surgery. So I stayed quiet, swallowed my pain, and worked even harder. One day, I got a call during work. It was from the hospital. "Your mother's condition is serious. We need to operate today." My heart stopped. I rushed to Mr. Clark's office and said, "Sir, my mother is in the hospital. I need to leave early, just for today." He looked at me coldly and said, "Your personal problems are not my concern. Finish your work, then go." Tears welled up in my eyes. I pleaded, "Please, she needs me." But he turned his back on me. That day, I left anyway. I couldn't forgive myself if something happened to her and I wasn't there. I ran out, tears streaming down my face. At the hospital, my mother held my hand and said, "You came, my brave girl. I'm proud of you." She survived the surgery, but I lost my job. The next day, I received a termination letter. Losing my job felt like losing my identity. For weeks, I wandered around the city, unsure of what to do. The weight of disappointment and guilt rested heavily on my shoulders. I had just lost the only job I thought would lead me to success, and in the process, I had neglected my most important priority, my family. I couldn't stop blaming myself for not standing up to Mr. Clark, for not fighting for my mother when she needed me the most. As I sat in the hospital waiting room, I reflected on everything that had happened. The cruel treatment I had endured, the long hours, the constant stress. All of it had taken a toll on me. It wasn't just the job. It was my own belief that I had to sacrifice my happiness to make my mother proud. I felt like I had failed. But as I sat there, my phone rang. It was from the HR department of the company I had just been fired from. "Hello, is this Sarah?" the voice on the other end asked. "Yes, this is she," I replied, my heart racing. "We've reconsidered your termination. We know you've been facing some tough situations at home, and we'd like to offer you a different position." We believe in your skills and we don't want to lose a good worker. Can you come in tomorrow for an interview?" I couldn't believe my ears. After everything I had been through, after being pushed to my limits by Mr. Clark, they were giving me a second chance. A small spark of hope began to light within me. Maybe this was the chance to rebuild, to start fresh, and to take control of my future. The next day, I arrived at the company with a mix of nervousness and excitement. This was my chance to make things right, not just for me, but for my family. When I entered the HR office, I was greeted by a new manager, Ms. Harper, who was warm and welcoming, nothing like Mr. Clark. "I've heard great things about you, Sarah," Ms. Harper said as she offered me a seat. "We understand you've been through a lot recently, and we're offering you a different role. This position is a bit different from your last one, and we believe it will be a better fit for you." I was shocked, but also relieved. I was being given another shot, and I knew I couldn't waste it. I started working in my new role under Ms. Harper, and everything changed. The environment was so much better. My new colleagues were supportive, and I no longer felt like I was invisible or trapped. I was respected for my hard work, and my contributions were appreciated. I wasn't just a tool to get the job done. I was valued. Over time, I realized that I didn't need to sacrifice my happiness or my family for the sake of a job. I didn't need to endure cruelty to prove my worth. What mattered most was my peace of mind, my health, and the happiness of my loved ones. But what truly helped me heal was the realization that I had made the right choice by leaving Mr. Clark's toxic environment. I had been afraid to stand up for myself, but once I did, I discovered a new strength I never knew I had. It was as if a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. And as for my mother, her health continued to improve. With the support of my new job and a fresh start, I was able to pay for her treatments, and we spent more quality time together. I no longer worried about work taking over my life. I had learned that life was about balance. Being successful in your career was important, but it should never come at the expense of your happiness or well-being. A few months later, I received an unexpected visit from my old colleague, Emma. She had heard about my new role and came to congratulate me. We sat down for coffee, and she asked, "How's everything going with the new job?" I smiled, my heart light. "It's been amazing. I'm in a better place now, both at work and in life." Emma nodded. "I'm glad to hear that. You deserve it. I always thought you were one of the hardest workers here, but you were treated so unfairly." "Yeah," I said, sighing. "It was tough, but sometimes you have to go through the storm to see the rainbow." We both laughed, but I knew it was true. I had learned so much from my struggles. I had learned to stand up for myself, to prioritize what really mattered, and to never settle for less than I deserved. As weeks passed, I began to realize just how much I had changed. The old Sarah, the one who was afraid to speak up, the one who let others dictate her worth, was no longer here. I had rediscovered my voice, and I was using it to shape my life. No longer did I feel invisible at work or at home. Every morning I woke up with a sense of purpose, knowing that I was in control of my own destiny. One day, I was called into Miss Harper's office for a meeting. My heart raced a little, unsure of what to expect. As I sat down, Miss Harper smiled at me warmly. "Sarah, you've been doing an outstanding job," she began. Your work ethic, your attitude, and the way you've handled challenges has really impressed me. I'd like to offer you a promotion. There's a new project coming up, and I think you'd be perfect to lead it." I was stunned. This was the same company that had almost broken me just a few months ago, and now they were offering me an opportunity to lead. I hadn't even considered the possibility of a promotion. I had been so focused on getting through each day. But now, the path ahead seemed clear, full of potential. I didn't hesitate. I accepted the promotion with gratitude and determination. It wasn't just a career advancement. It was a chance to prove to myself that I had the strength to overcome anything. I knew this project would be challenging, but I was ready. For the first time in years, I felt excited about my work, not because of the title, but because I had earned it. As I dove into the project, I found myself working closely with a team of passionate individuals. Together, we worked day and night, brainstorming ideas and solving problems. The more we collaborated, the more I realized how much I had grown as a leader. I wasn't just a worker. I was a part of something bigger. I had become a role model, someone who inspired others with my work ethic and commitment. But even with all the professional success, I never lost sight of my personal life. My relationship with my mother blossomed, and we spent more time together than ever before. I made sure to take weekends off to visit her, to laugh with her, and to cherish every moment. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I was balancing my career and my family without one overshadowing the other. Despite my newfound confidence, there were still moments of doubt. Every now and then, I would find myself reflecting on my past and the mistakes I had made. The guilt would creep in, and I would wonder if I was doing enough. I still felt the weight of the time I had lost, the moments with my mother that I couldn't get back, and the opportunities I had missed because I had been so consumed by my job. One evening, as I sat on the couch with my mother, I opened up to her. "Mom," I said softly, "I've been thinking a lot about everything that's happened. I've been so focused on proving myself at work that I forgot to enjoy the little things. I don't want to lose sight of what really matters." My mother smiled at me, her gentle eyes filled with understanding. "Sarah, you've always been hard on yourself. You've always wanted to be the best, not just for you, but for others. But remember, life isn't just about achievements. It's about love, connection, and finding peace within yourself. You're doing your best, and that's enough." Her words resonated deeply within me. I had spent so much time chasing external success that I had forgotten to look inward. I had forgotten that self-acceptance and inner peace were just as important as anything else. With my mother's words echoing in my mind, I made a promise to myself. I would stop chasing validation from others and start finding validation within myself. I realized that my worth wasn't defined by my job title or my boss's approval. It was defined by how I treated myself and others. Over time, I began to enjoy the small victories, spending time with my children without feeling rushed, laughing with my colleagues, and most importantly, embracing the love that had always been there for me. I started meditating every morning, reflecting on what I had accomplished and how far I had come. I was no longer just surviving, I was thriving. Moral of the story: Sarah's journey is a powerful reminder that success in life isn't just about climbing the corporate ladder or gaining recognition from others. It's about finding balance between work and personal life, between ambition and self-care. True success is when we learn to prioritize what truly matters: our health, our happiness, and the people we love. Sometimes we have to hit rock bottom to realize how strong we really are. The key is not to stay down, but to rise again, stronger and wiser. Your worth isn't defined by the struggles you've faced or the mistakes you've made. You are enough just as you are, and you have the power to shape your future with every choice you make. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you in the next video.